Hey friends, welcome back to Simple Truth. Now we left off last time ending in chapter 18, which was Abraham's intercession for Sodom. So he was essentially counting down how many wise men or how many righteous men God would be willing to save the city for. Started at 50 and then just kind of went down from there. So today we're going to be looking at chapters 19 through 21. We're going to see a couple different things. God's judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. We're also going to see the origin of the Moabites, actually through Lot. A little bit of scandal there. And then beyond that, we're going to take a look at the birth of Isaac, and just a little bit, and then we'll get on more of that tomorrow. So once again, today's chapters are going to be 19 through 21. So we will start talking about Sodom. The chapter 19. Now, the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face to the ground. And he said, "Hear now, my lords, please turn in to your servant's house and spend the night, and wash your feet, and then you may rise early and go on your way." But they said, "No, but we will spend the night in the open square." But he insisted strongly, so they turned in to him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast, and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, and all the people from every quarter, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, so that we may know them carnally." So Lot went out to them through the doorway and shut the door behind them, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See now, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please, let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof." And they said, "Stand back." There they said, "This one came in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. So now we will deal worse with you than with them." So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they became weary trying to find the door. Then the men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever else you have in this city, take them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who had married his daughters, and he said, "Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city." But to his sons-in-law he seemed to be joking. When the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters, who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of this city." And while he lingered, the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him, and brought him out to outside the city. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed." Then Lot said to them, "Please, no, my lords. Indeed, now your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have increased your mercy, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live." And he said to him, "See, I have favored you concerning this thing also, in that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there." Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun had risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. Then the Lord rained down brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heaven. So he overthrew the cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham went in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord, and he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and towards the land of the plain. And he saw and beheld that the smoke of the land went up like the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow. when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. Then Lot went out to Zoar, dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. The firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come in to us, as is the custom of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with their father. And then he did not know that she lay down, or when she arose. It happened on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, Indeed, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine again tonight also, that you may go in and lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. Then they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him. And he did not know when she had laid down, or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son, and called him Moab. He is the father of Moabites to this day. And the younger also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the people of Ammon to this day. Chapter 20. And Abraham journeyed from there to the south, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur. He stayed in Gerar. Now Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Indeed you are a dead man because of this woman you have taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, She is my sister? And she, even herself, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this. And God said to him in a dream, Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. Now, therefore, restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. So Abimelech rose early in the morning, called all his servants, and told all these things in their hearing. And the men were very much afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? How have I offended you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done. Then Abimelech said to Abraham, What did you do in view, and what have you done, and why have you done this thing? Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will kill me on account of my wife. But indeed she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, This is your kindness that you should do for me in every place. Wherever we go, say of me, He is my brother. Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and restored Sarah his wife back to him. And Abimelech said, See, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you. Then to Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you, and before everybody. Thus she was rebuked. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants. Then they bore children. As for the Lord had closed up the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Chapter 21. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the time set for which God had spoken to them. And Abraham called the name of his son, who was his firstborn to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, God has made me laugh, and all who will hear this will laugh with me. So also she said, Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. So the child grew up and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, scoffing. Therefore she said to Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for if the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, namely Isaac. and the matter was very displeasing to Abraham's sight because of his son. But God said to Abraham, "Do not let it be displeasing in your sight because of the lad or because of your bondwoman. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Isaac your seed shall be called. Yet I will also make a nation of the son of the bondwoman, because he is your seed." So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water, and putting it on her shoulder, he gave it to the boy, to Hagar, and sent her away. Then she departed and went into the wilderness of Beersheba. After the water in the skin was used up, she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. Then she went and sat down a distance from him, at a distance of about a bow shot, for she said to herself, "Let me not see the death of the boy." So she sat opposite him, and lifted her voice, and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad. Then the angel of God called out to Hagar out of heaven, and said to her, "What ails you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water, and gave the lad a drink. So God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. He dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and took his mother a wife for him. And his mother took a wife for him out of the land of Egypt. And it came to pass at that time, Abimelech, called Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, "God is with you in all you do. Now therefore, swear to me by God that you will not deal falsely with me, or with my offspring, or with my prosperity, but that according to the kindness that I have done to you, you will do to me in the land which you have dwelt." And Abraham said, "I will swear." And Abraham rebuked Abimelech because of the well of water which Abimelech's servants had seized. And Abimelech said, "I did not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, nor I had heard of it until this day." So Abraham took sheep and oxen, and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech asked Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves?" And he said, "You will take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, that they may be a witness that I have dug this well." Therefore he called the place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. So Abimelech rose with Phicol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. Then Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines many days. All right, so a little bit longer today. There was a lot of content there. So some great wrapping up to a lot of the origin story of the Moabites, and we will obviously see them again. Next time, since we've had the introduction of Isaac, we're going to look into God's testing of Abraham's faith, and then we're also going to look a little bit at the death of Sarah as well. But thank you so much for joining us, and hope you have a great rest of your day.